right. So welcome, everyone. Welcome our guests here on Zoom, our guests on LinkedIn, and people watching in the future on YouTube. I am Gershon Margolis. I'm the founder of Imperial Advisory. We are a CFO advisory and fractional CFO firm. So what we do is we have a incredible team of CFOs and senior financial executives, and we come into businesses and we either work for the CFO, or when there is no CFO, we work as the part-time CFO, and we help our clients, the CEOs and CFOs, make better, more informed business decisions. We do that through both advisory and a variety of types of work that we take on, that we do to take things off their plate. Anyway, one of the things that we often see is that businesses want to grow. That's part of why they hire us. And we help with a variety of things. Business with some clients now on this, we're looking at different issues and bottlenecks and things that that the clients can invest in to help them grow. So you might be missing people. If you don't have enough people, you can't fulfill, you can't sell. Your costs might be too high. So maybe you have to lower your costs. One of the things that we often come up with, and there's a variety of different things, one of the things we often come up with is clients want to grow. And part of the strategy for growth is growing the top line, growing sales. And when that happens, we're not the experts in growing sales. And so while there are things that we can do to help with that, like highlight the fact that they don't have enough people to fulfill enough orders, et cetera, a big part of growing sales is aligning yourself with the right sales leader. And that's why we have John here today. We have John here to teach us a little bit about how to manage a sales team, how to grow sales. John does a lot of work in that space. He works with a variety of companies, and we are pleased to have John. In a moment, I'm going to ask John to introduce himself. I want to just take a second to welcome our teammates. I'll start with Brittany, who got this all coordinated and set up. Thank you very much, Brittany, for all of your help. Next, we'll welcome my partner, Ken. He's our leader of FP&A. He does probably more work than anyone else on the team with CFOs. But many of the people on our team work with CFOs. Welcome, Steve, one of our CFOs with a lot of experience in subscriptions. Welcome, Barry, who has experience in all sorts of things, many different business models, international manufacturing, et cetera. I think we have someone else, two other people, but I don't see their faces, so I don't know who they are, but welcome nonetheless. And now, without further ado, John, introduce yourself. If you can do it better than me, probably you can. And then let's get started.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And Gershon and I have been networking partners for a couple of years now, and I appreciate the opportunity here to speak to, business owners and leaders about how to increase sales. Just a little background on myself. 35 years in corporate America. So I've done this for the big boys as well. Up to $2 billion company and several, multi-million and $100 million types of organizations. I've built high performance sales and marketing teams. And then 3 years ago, went out on my own and started Growth Plan Partners. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share here and we'll give you a little bit of perspective. Okay, share. Folks are all seeing that first slide now. Top 10 sales drivers.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. Okay. So again, the name of my company is Growth Plan Partners, and I generally help clients by acting as a fractional sales leader or chief revenue officer. Sometimes, though, I can come in and just help with infrastructure or project work or things like that, or maybe just, some strategy help, compensation. There's a lot of different things that I work on, having spent so many years in corporate America. But the majority of my clients hire me because they're stuck. Basically, we watch this in business constantly. They have great idea, great product. They build the company to some level, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, happened to be a big $20 million year for me. I had 3 clients, $20 million, that had just kind of plateaued for a couple of years at that 20 million. and just very frustrated on how to get to that next level, right? How to get that sales engine moving again and driving good and consistent growth. And, we see a lot of the common problems. I'm going to talk about those, but, these are some what we kind of see as the top 10 sales drivers. Now, you also see the term sales acceleration there. I just wanted to explain that. I have my own LLC, and that's how I serve my clients, but I'm also a sales acceleration advisor. And what that is a group of about 200 of us around the country that pool our knowledge, our tools, our best practices, and everyone has a minimum of 25 years of sales leadership experience. So somebody chuckled the other day, basically, that we have 5,000 years of sales management experience. So hopefully we can figure it out and show you maybe where some of the issues are and where some of the open doors are to get you growing a little faster. Okay. But if I can be of any help, and happy to do a free assessment for anybody. My email is simply jnoonan@growthplanpartners.com. Okay. Oh, let me get up here. And away we go. So at Sales Acceleration, we actually engage approximately 4,600 clients a year amongst the 200 of us. Not that we help all those 4,600, but we engage them and have them take an assessment that we have given for some 15 years. And basically, this is not our information. This is what business owners and business leaders are telling us about their operations. Okay. It's an assessment where we just simply ask them questions about, do you do this? Do you use a CRM? Do you have a sales budget? Do you, what is your compensation plan? All these different elements. Okay. And then we have them feed back to us. And this assessment, helps us then put together a prescriptive solution to help that client, right? You wouldn't go to a doctor and just take his first prescription, right? You would hope they do a little triage to find out what's wrong with you. And that's what we do with this assessment. But as you can see here in our 2024 results, which was all of 2023, 76% of business owners or leaders rate themselves as poor in their overall sales operations. I mean, that's a big number. I would expect a few more chest pounders that I got this under control. I know exactly what I'm doing. But when they get into it and they start to answer the questions, they're like, yeah, maybe we don't do that. Maybe we don't do that. So much of good business at the beginning is built on inertia and sheer, will, right? We get out there, we do it, we're motivated. Just our attitude helps us sell, right? But as we get bigger, as processes need to come into place, you need some help and some outside help to kind of show you the best way to do that. So when we look at this assessment and we look at the different areas, we have 4 basic areas that we take a look at: sales strategy, sales methodology, the actual sales organization, and then sales analysis. And you can see here that, well over 86%, claim that they are struggling in these areas, that they don't have their hands firmly around that, either because they don't have a sales leader or because, the sales leader that's in place, may not have had the skill set necessary to drive the organization. We chuckle in our business. The mortal sin of our world is many people take their best salesperson and make them their sales leader. And we highly consult against that. That's generally a different mindset, a different personality profile. Those that lead, those that are great salespeople are generally not great leaders. So this is some of the kind of guidance and counsel we give our clients as we continue to work with them. But again, 86% are struggling with strategy. What is strategy? That's your industry position. Who your competitors are, what your value proposition is. We generally do a workshop with our clients around value proposition and ideal client profiles, who we should be targeting, who we should go after. And, this gets past some people. They just been running their business for so long. They don't sit down and think about what is our value proposition. And then when they do think of something, oh, we have great service, we have low prices, we have, high quality. Everybody's saying that. So it's really not a differentiator anymore. So we work with clients to really find some unique value propositions that we can promote to the client. So people, that nobody else can make that claim type of thing. And that's important that you do that and that your competitors, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and how to work in the marketplace. Okay, 90% say they struggle with sales methodology. Now that's when you have a sales team and you're looking at territories and coverages and, but more importantly, the processes in the CRM. It still amazes me, but one of the questions we ask, and again, I told you, we have over 4,000, participants in this survey every year. Almost 50% of those businesses, and these are businesses approximately $5 million to about $75 million. That's kind of a sweet spot for where we work. But about 50% either don't have or don't use a CRM system. And that just blows my mind in today's world that, 50% of the companies are still doing it via spreadsheet, via Rolodex, via whatever. But they don't have, these CRMs are so inexpensive today. They bring so much to the table in things that you guys need as CFOs to help your clients, right? Forecasting methodology and pipeline size and strength and things of that nature. So we focus a lot on processes, on a CRM system, getting that sales process documented and in a CRM system and a good one so that we all kind of know we have our dashboards, we have our KPIs, we know how we're advancing at any point in time. Okay. Then again, 96% say they struggle with a sales organization and, staffing, hiring, training, roles and responsibilities. I tend to find, business owners and leaders tend to hire people that they like or are like them as opposed to for their skills acumen. Okay. And especially if they need what we call hunters, right? A good hunter salesman, the ones that are out there banging the tree. Shaking the trees and getting out there in front of people, meeting people, letting people know of the value that the company offers out there. They're hard to come by. And then they're hard to manage because most good, hunters are a little bit ADD, a little bit of they don't like to do their paperwork and things like that. So even if some owners find some good salespeople, they have a tough time managing them and giving them direction and coaching. So that we can definitely help with. And then we also happen to have an in-house recruiting firm whereby we can help you find those true hunters or the type of people that we're looking for. And we give a full 6-month guarantee on that hire. So if they leave for any reason, we'll replace them and work with you. But more importantly, we onboard them into the processes and systems that we put in place to help these clients. Okay. And then finally, 91% struggle with a sales analysis. And again, this is your world, guys. Goals, quotas, metrics, reporting, compensation and incentives. So we've seen and we've worked with a lot of different companies. We understand what drives a business. We understand what costs should be, what motivates salespeople. Compensation is a big topic for me. I work on a lot of new systems with clients because when a business is new, they tend to have to pay a higher commission rate to get good salesmen on board to get it all going, and then they just kind of leave that in place, and that can become a real cash drain on the business and a demotivator. Once a salesperson kind of gets to their comfort level, where's the incentive for them to keep going out and to keep hunting and doing what the company needs to do? So it's just something that I've heard from business leaders before, kind of comically, like, I have these salespeople, I pay them all this money and they're not doing what I want them to do. Okay. Well, again, that may be process and systems and things like that, but I'm going to bet there's a compensation issue there too, which we can help with and work with folks like Imperial to make sure it fits your budget and your goals for the year. Okay. So when you look at your business, if you're a business owner listening to this, does any of this sound familiar to you? My sales have been at the same level for the last few years. This is the majority of our clients. They get to some plateau and, like I said, it was 20 for one of my clients or a couple of them. They get to 21, they go down to 18, they go back to 19, they go back to 16, and they just keep vacillating. They can't figure out how to get up and over that. Okay. Even worse, my sales have been declining, competitive market, competitive labor, situation. Why is that happening? Is it people? Is it process? Is it, part of the economy? Is it your pricing structure? There's a lot of things that may affect that, but obviously, that's where a lot of people come our way. My sales have been declining. Too much of my annual revenue comes from a couple of clients. Okay. again, a scary situation. And I know Imperial would warn you of the same. You never want to have one or two clients be the majority of your business. The risk is just way too high. But hey, we built a business. We have a great process. We have someone that loves us. They keep supporting us. They keep giving us more. We put a lot of emphasis on them. And then all of a sudden we look at, our income statement and we go, oh my God, they're 42% of our sales. That is a scary place to be. So, part of the things that we do in working with clients is showing them how to balance their sales, how to make sure that they have an even distribution of the markets that they cover, and an approach to make sure that all the different elements continue to grow and the different markets that they serve continue to grow. And we never want a client to get that big on us because the risk level is just way too high. Okay. I can't predict my sales. Okay. Again, without a CRM system, I'm amazed that some people can even do it with a spreadsheet, but they do. What we do is we help with processes and systems. And if you're diligent with the CRM system and you're listing your opportunities and your expected close dates and their value and your next activity, we can really start to put together a good predictive sales forecast for the company. And that's what everybody wants, right? We want to understand, especially you guys at Imperial, you can't advise if you don't know when the income's coming in, right? Everything is budgeted against, that top line to figure out what your bottom line is going to be. So we want to make sure that we can build a system that's, gives us those predictions as accurately as possible. There'll always be some work that needs to be done. We always kid and, we always have our blue skiers that think everything is going to close and our sandbaggers that, tell us nothing's ever going to close, but they keep bringing sales to the table. So, but that's the sales leader's job to kind of figure that out, kind of build that into the predictive model of the CRM system so that we can get an accurate forecast for the client and their CFO advisors so that they can, utilize cash in the best possible way. Okay. For a business owner, too much of our sales success depends on me. I built this business. I was the original salesperson. Again, I hire these salespeople. They're not doing what I want them to do. I've got to stay out there. This is where we get called in a lot. I mean, again, great idea that business owners out there trying to do everything. Great line I heard not too long ago from somebody was, no one goes into business because they're good at business, right? They're good at something, whatever that is, some process, some procedure, some skill set, some product that they manufacture. But a business owner has to learn the different elements of business. And the smart ones know which one they can get good, which ones they get good at, and which ones they need to bring in professional help for. Okay. And a lot of the times, because they're kind of the face of the company, they feel like they have to stay in this sales leadership role. Okay. And this is, a lot of the work that we do is kind of guiding them as to how they can be the visionary. They can take care of their top clients. They can be involved, but they really shouldn't have that day-to-day responsibility of a quota and making sure that sales, happen on a regular basis. They should be out there worrying about the vision of the company and how to move it forward in totality. And, hopefully we come in as that fractional sales leader, take that off their plate, show them how to do that, and then either hire our replacement externally or find someone internally we can train to take that role. Okay. I can find the right salesperson. Again, it's not easy. Especially business owners, again, hire a lot of friends' kids. Oh, he said he was good at sales. Okay. That he had sold once before. And hey, we bring a lot of people into our organization for different reasons, but I think sales is an area that we just don't put enough emphasis on assessing the skill base before we bring them on board, right? Somebody speaks well, somebody, heard that they work somewhere and did a pretty good job. I guess it's the old adage of past performance is no indicator of future success, right? We need to understand what this role is about, what they're going to be doing, what their skill set is, and make sure that they meet that. And part of our recruiting process, and even for those that are already there, we have a multitude of assessment tests, where we'll help clients determine whether the people they have, pardon my French, but do we have the right butts in the right seats, right? Do we have the people out there doing the right things? And again, trying to determine between what we'll call hunters and farmers at the extremes, those that are out there generating new business for the organization and those that are making sure we secure it, we take care of that client, and we grow it internally. We help with all of those elements. Okay. So if you're in these situations, if any of this sounds familiar to anybody, what should companies do today? Okay. And this is kind of our top 10. And again, this is developed from over 200 of us and our corporate staff as far as the things that we are doing today with clients that are making the biggest difference for them to get over those sales humps and get to the next level. Okay. Number 10, do you have a defined sales strategy? Okay. And that is the addition of all these things we talk about. Do we know who our ideal client profile is? Okay. Do we know who we're targeting, or are we just out there random? Are we, what they call scattershot or shotgun approach? We're going to make a bunch of calls. We're going to put a bunch of stuff out there and hope it sticks on a wall. That's not the way to do business. We help them get very focused on the ideal clients that can bring us business the fastest and the most consistently. And then within those markets and client profiles, we look at the buyer personas. Who are these people? How do they buy? I think a mistake a lot of companies make is they and I'm sorry, we even say it here too, but we have, a sales strategy. Okay. But are we looking at how our clients buy? What is their buying strategy? And learn to adapt to that. That should be our sales strategy, adapting to their buying strategy, right? We help them create sales stories. Everyone prefers to hear stories than just words. Okay. They want to hear how something happened and tell me a story about, the success, and help me learn that way more so in parables. So we teach salespeople how to tell good sales stories about the companies and their offerings. So, they can be accepted much more quickly. Again, looking at our competitors, making sure everybody understands what differentiates us and what is our value proposition. Okay. These are really the building and base blocks, that we go out with, and everyone needs to be singing from the same hymnal if we're going to be most effective to generate sales. So this sales strategy, is kind of part one, and make sure we have all these pieces documented in a playbook, ready for anybody to read at any time or anybody to brush up on. Number 9, clearly define sales goals and KPIs. Okay. This includes the company, the sales team, and individuals. In my world, and probably in Imperial's world, it is unacceptable to have a sales forecast that isn't the addition of the responsibilities of all of the parties that produce this income, right? So often we'll go in and was like, okay, each salesperson has a quota of $500,000. The owner does $1 million, and then we usually do about 3 more million. Okay. Where does this usual 3 more million come from? Okay. It needs to be assigned. It needs to be the responsibility of somebody. Nobody can be held accountable if they don't have the responsibility. So we work diligently on making sure that all of the individual quotas add up to the total sales forecast, and everybody knows what they should be doing. Okay. We look at our existing clients versus new clients. How many do we want to bring on based on what our goals are? By product, how are our products selling against our gross margins? Where are we making our money? Where should we put our time, right? This one is very important and often, left behind, is leading and lagging indicators, what we call activity-based and results-based KPIs. And what I mean by that is, salespeople are always going to be judged on sales, right? That's the easy part. People say, oh, you don't have to review a salesperson. They either sell or they don't. Okay. Well, that is true of a qualified and a tenured salesperson that has already exceeded the normal sales cycle or the time it takes to start making sales. Then yes, they can absolutely be, judged on results. But when you bring on new people, you really have to judge them on activity, right? You have to use those senior salespeople to determine, to get a sale, how many do I have to quote? How many meetings do I have to have? How many calls do I have to make to get those meetings? How much marketing do I have to do to get those, calls taken so that I can get those meetings? You kind of get it. And it's a math in essence. And we work, long and hard to make sure that we have activity-based metrics as well, so that we can see early in stages of hiring salespeople whether they're going to work out or not. You may go into a business and the average sales cycle is 1 year. So you hire a salesperson. What you've just told me is you don't have an expectation that they're going to sell anything for a year. It may take a year for a client that they've worked on. So it's the only way to judge them. Okay. And again, setting proper activity levels for desired outcomes, tracked for pulse on the business goals. We're doing it weekly, monthly, quarterly. I'm a big believer in a weekly meeting, no matter what, and then weekly one-on-ones with salespeople, and then share with the team and the management to show progress. And again, if you've got a good CRM system, you build a good dashboard with KPIs. This is on a dashboard. Anybody can go to it at any time and look for exceptions, which is, I think we all agree, the best way to run a business, by exception. Number 8, having weekly sales meetings. This is critical. I talk a lot with my clients when I come on board, and I have a couple of people on a sales team, and I am a big believer in selling is a team sport. Many believe it is not. Many believe, hey, I hire these professional people, let them go out and get the damn work done, bring me the sales, okay? But no person is an island. No one's going to improve by themselves, okay? We only improve and grow with the help and support and guidance of one another. So I think these weekly sales meetings are critical. Who's having success? Why? Who's failing? Why? Okay. What do we have to eliminate? What do we have to put more time into? Where should we be focusing our efforts? Not enough time in most organizations gets spent having the sales force collaborate in this way. And we think it's absolutely critical. They start supporting one another. They start helping one another. Somebody talks about a potential client that they're pursuing, and it's all of a sudden it's like, hey, my sister-in-law works there. Do you want me to make a call and see if I can get you in? I mean, things evolve. I've never held a sales meeting that something positive didn't come out of it for the benefit of the overall company because of the support of the team. Okay. Make sure everybody comes prepared with deliverables, set clear expectations each week. That's my job as a sales leader, or your sales leader's job. Coaching and training is absolutely critical. I believe in at least 30 minutes of one-to-one. These group meetings are important. The team is the team, but we all have our individual idiosyncrasies, issues, problems, weaknesses, strengths. So, a good sales leader is going to be coaching these people, separately, and then using what they learn there to help the entire team as well. And, even I do quite a few ride-alongs with my clients. Happy to do that. Watch people sell, watch their techniques, listen to how things get done so that we can hold people accountable. Number 7, create a defined sales process. Okay, this is what I talked about earlier, that each step in the process should be clearly stated from the time we get a lead or someone contacts our company all the way till it's closed and whatever post-service we should have. And these are kind of like the tiles and inside a CRM system, the different steps in the process. We get a lead, then we verify it, we validate it, we set up a meeting, we have a call, we get some information. Maybe we have to, send some information and get some information and then make a quote, and, all the steps that for whatever the particular business is that are required to close the deal. That way we know what's sitting in each step phase of the sales process. And usually as we advance a client through that process, our probability of success continues to increase. And that's part of our forecasting. An early lead may only have a 10% probability of success, but once we get to the full quote negotiation stage, maybe we're in the 75% category, and we use those numbers to create more accurate sales forecasts. Okay. But having this defined process creates this common language and understanding amongst the entire organization. Everybody knows what we're talking about. We define the checkpoints for each part of the process and determine, what needed information needs to come back to move it to the next stage. So that's all part of the things that we work on with clients, is to get the sales process in place, make sure everybody understands it and knows when to move any opportunity from one stage to the next. Number 6, conduct sales training. Again, often a weakness in companies. They bring people in. They're supposed to be professionals. If a salesman's good, what do I need to train them on? the world is changing. You guys in the CFO side, you're learning all the time yourselves. I know what the new laws are, what new situations are, what new methods and processes are out there, and it's the same with sales, especially since we've gone to a more remote society. Selling becomes a little more different when we're doing it on Zoom than we're doing it in person. All right, and now AI. Ooh, this AI. I could talk for hours on AI and what it's doing for both us to better help a client, which is great, helps us find them faster, helps us service them quicker, helps us bring more to the table. But it's also on the client side, they're using it to say, what do I need a salesperson for? Right? I can just go on ChatGPT, plug in what I want, and it's going to tell me the best company to deal with and the price I should pay and who I should call. Right? We know that's not true, but we know that people are thinking that it can be used that way. So, there's what that means is we're being called in later and later in the sales process. So we have to be able to react faster and faster to the ultimate need of the client. Okay. And, so to have a good sales training program to keep the salespeople attuned as to our value proposition, the key differentiators, doing role play so that they understand how, to translate this to a client and also learn what objections are we going to hear. You don't want to be a deer in the headlights when a customer says, well, I don't believe it, or I don't want that, or that doesn't mean anything to me. They need to be able to respond quickly. They need to understand the value and be able to speak fluently to the client about what we can do. So, I will travel and listen to calls with reps and continue that sales training process. And any good leader should be doing that on a weekly, monthly, and continual basis. I've said a lot about this before. Leverage sales technology, CRM. You have to have a good CRM system and tool. Okay. Many ERP systems have them kind of built in. We may be able to work with those. I'm familiar with all the big ones and the smaller ones that are out there. Most of them do a sufficient job. Okay. But please pick one, utilize it, train your people how to utilize it, and start using the information you get from it to run your business. It's critical. Again, the technologies are advancing. There's more chat GBT on top of these things. They help you write letters and content. They'll even tell you from monitoring your email trails, when a client may be in jeopardy or is concerned. I mean, it's crazy, these new tools that we're seeing today and what these things can do by monitoring all the data inside an organization to help a salesperson better service a client. Okay. And again, I could speak a lot about this, but we have some really cool new tools we're working with for lead generation and finding commonality with clients and making sure, we're monitoring the chatter in our email system and to determine if clients are happy or need attention or, we need help moving them to the next step. Obviously utilizing LinkedIn and things like KnowledgeNet AI, which is a system for, again, lead generation and finding commonality out there with different kinds of clients instead of throwing darts, using this technology to get, laser focused on the right areas a lot quicker so that there's a lot less wasted time out there in the prospecting part of, a good salesperson's job. Number 4 is build a sales playbook. So all these things I've talked about, put them down on paper, put them in a digital file, make them available to anyone and everyone in the organization that needs them. Okay. It enables a seller with all the resources of the company. It's a tool for onboarding. When somebody comes on board, you can hand them the playbook, read this through, make sure you understand this, come back with questions. And again, this should include your value prop, your competitive differentiations, your call and email scripts, your buyer personas, your client profiles, and a lot more. How we do business, what our company values are, everything a good salesperson should know about the company. And again, these things are, obviously they're digital today, as well as printed paper, but they're also can be adapted with in-house versions of Chat GPT so that a salesperson can actually do searches on everything that's in this playbook and other databases of the company to find the most accurate information to guide them as to their next step or find the resources that they need. Okay. Number 3, right people, right structure, right roles. You need proper structure to maximize sales. You got to understand what your balance should be of outside and inside sales reps. I talked about these terms before. Hunters and farmers are kind of overused terms and maybe not clear to everybody, but we as seasoned sales leader believe there's a lot of science out there today through these assessments and the type of people that we should be hiring to do the types of jobs. And a salesperson is not a salesperson for every role, for every need, for every possibility of process out there. You really have to look at it. And then your inside sales and your customer service or program management or account management, whatever you might call it, how well they work with sales and the types of roles. With all this needs to be considered. And then make sure you've got clear territory assignments or account assignment versus product versus industry. What you've got, and who you've got working on it. And then you got to look at your turnover on lower performers. We all put a lot of effort into people. We want to see them succeed. But the old adage of just pure management is hire slow, fire fast. And not to be rude or harsh, but we're running a business. We're here to make a profit. We need people that want to be on our team, that know it, get it, want to do it. Okay. And that's in every department, but obviously in sales, that's critical as well. And maybe more critical because they are representing the company. They're the face of the company out there. And it's important that, you put your best people out there. Number two, build a comp plan that incents the right behavior. I talked about this before. Needs to be a win-win for the rep and the organization. If the rep is doing what the organization, desires, then they're going to win. Okay. They're going to get their commissions. They're going to get their bonuses. But it's also got to be set up so that no one can get, again, dumb, fat, and lazy and just, have the money roll in for doing nothing, just bringing a client in 4 years ago. Too much of the organization is working on that client now. And it's our belief that, a high sales commission shouldn't be paid on repeat business. That's not requiring the services and activity of the salesperson. Okay. When you've got a good comp plan, it's going to, help you acquire the right people. You're going to be able to find those good hunters. Okay. But you got to understand, what you will and can pay to drive growth. Okay. And I can help you show you what, average industries are paying and how good systems are set up. And it's important to review and update this yearly. Okay. I always advise clients that there should be two things when you have a new salesperson. You should have an offer letter and you should have this year's compensation plan. And they both should be signed when they come on board. And the offer letter can go in the file, but that compensation plan should be revised every year and re-signed. Okay. I walk into far too many organizations when I'm like, so what do you pay these people? And they pull me out an offer letter from 1962. And I'm like, what is this? And well, that's what we get. Was this what you're paying them? Oh no, we've changed this comp plan 6 times till then. Where is this document? It's not. Sorry, it's not. So it just leads to problems, concerns, lack of trust. So just something that I highly suggest you do. Get your comp plans separate from your offers, get them signed every year, revise them every year, even if the numbers don't change, make sure everybody understands, what applies and what they're going to earn. A good comp plan, a salesperson should be able to go in, meet with a client, say, I could sell them $1 million. And if I do, I'm going to make this. Okay. They shouldn't be overly complicated. But again, things we can help with. And as I said, always have it signed by the individual. And finally, number one, proper sales management. I think if you're dedicated to growth, the company, the team, new hire and onboarding, you need a sales leader when you get to a certain level. Okay. If you got 1 or 2 people, I can understand the owner's going to do it. Whoever can do it is going to provide some guidance. But once you get to critical mass, that sales leader position is important. And again, another thing that I'll say is I am definitively not a believer in player coaches. Some people think, oh, I'll bring on this sales leader and they're going to sell for me too. I think that's a big mistake. I've seen that backfire far too many times. The sales team tends to not trust the sales leader if they're also out there selling, feeling like they could say, hey, look at this lead that I found. Oh, wait a minute. I called on them 2 years ago. I'll take that. There's just too many problems that could happen, and they get focused more on selling than they get on driving the accountability and the performance of the team, which is where they should be. Okay. So again, what I can do in helping clients that are struggling with any of this, I hope you take any one of these ideas. This has been recorded. You can relook at this. You can do much of this on your own. And I encourage, please get a CRM system and just start if you don't have one, type of thing. But, we at Sales Acceleration, we have a certified sales operating management system. But again, it is custom designed to your specific needs based on the assessment. And again, we can help you work on sales strategy, the infrastructure, your sales management, and your sales team. We kind of bring it all together with very experienced people that can kind of show you the way, teach you the ropes, and then, help you find that sales leader that can take you to the next level and get you on your way. So I thank you very much for your time and attention, and happy to take questions or if there was anything in the chat. Anybody else has questions?
Right.
So
I have a question, but I'm going to wait.
sir.
Let's see if anyone else wants to go first.
Okay. I know we've only got a few people live here, so.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Real quick, Kate here.
Sure. Hi, Kate.
Thanks for this. This is great. What inexpensive CR, or if you're willing to share, is there an inexpensive CRM you recommend for smaller companies?
I personally like Pipedrive. I think the value proposition on that for the beginner, you get a lot of bang for your buck there. Pipedrive was actually initially built as a CRM, and now it has all the marketing modules and everything else. Like HubSpot was originally built as a marketing platform that then also became a CRM platform and a project management platform and blah, 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 blah. But, what I see being used out there, which is my total criteria of the one I want, is Pipedrive. I can show a salesperson how to use it. They like it. They see benefit from it. And, if you're a small group of people, I think the intro platforms on that are something like $30 to $40 a month per person. Not horrible. So that would be the one I would recommend.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Kate, that's what we use.
Oh, cool.
And does the trick. We've been using it for a couple of years. John, I have a question. Do you sometimes people aren't selling enough, and that was one of the first symptoms or whatever that you had mentioned at the beginning. Do you sometimes come in and find that they're not selling, but it's not a sales problem? It's really something else, like they're afraid to sell because they can't deliver on time, or they're afraid to sell because they can't finance, the inventory they're going to have to sell. They're going to have to get inventory in order to be able to sell, or they're going to have to give their clients terms. I was just speaking with someone today, and he's nervous. This is a prospect, hopefully about to come on, and he was nervous to take on new clients because he's like, because then I'm going to have to pay them, and I don't know where the cash is going to come from, and what if the stuff sits on our warehouse floor for too long, and what's holding back his sales is not his salespeople. It's like a whole other world of problems.
Exactly. And that's why I mentioned early on, my preference in working with a client is to come in as the fractional CRO and sit in on these executive meetings that they're having each week, each month, however they have them, because this is the kind of stuff I need to understand. We can't sell fantasy. All right. It's just going to get us in trouble, and the house of cards will collapse. But we need to know what the restrictions on the organization are. I mean, I was just working closely with a client. I've got a client right now. I won't mention them because of it, but the sales team came to me right away and said, I could sell 30% more. I said, great, go do it. I can't get a quote. I can't get a quote. It's taking 7 to 10 days to get a quote out of our system, and our competitors are doing it in 1 to 3. Why? Okay. So these were the hard things that I had to learn, bring to management. Why these folks weren't talking about it, who knows? But, maybe it's been, too much of that responsibility is on the owner. Salespeople are afraid to talk to the owner and sour the relationship, so they just shut up. And, but Absolutely. I find a lot of reasons internally why, sales aren't occurring. Again, whether it's quotations, whether it's your point that they have to finance inventory to bring it on board and sit on it for a period of time so the owners get scared. And that's when you're going to lose good salespeople too, right? So this is all a domino effect of, if you're going to bring a good person on, you better be ready. And one of the conversations that I always have with my clients at the very beginning, and hopefully with either their CFO or someone like yourselves that's in there, what is our growth plan? What do we want to do and how fast are you willing to grow? And again, I can develop a sales budget, but I can't develop a company budget. That's what you guys do, right? You guys work and put together that plan with the client so that they understand everything, all the uses of cash, right? And sources and uses of cash, so that you can help guide us. And I may have to listen to some hard stuff, and I have. Yeah, you can sell 30% more, but you can't have what you need to do it. Okay. As long as everybody understands that, we're going to grow at a slightly slower rate. There's no good, bad, or indifferent there. And I've worked with some clients, not my preference, but that have lifestyle businesses, right? They're like, hey, it's my family business. As long as everybody in the family makes X, we're good. We don't need to grow it, 3 times. It's not what I'm looking for. I just need good, consistent, you know, sales that I can predict. Okay. That's a different person than, hey, I want to sell my company in 5 years. I want to double it because my goal is X, and it's going to take double the sales, double the profit, or whatever it is to get my multiple of EBITDA to get what I want to get out and retire. So, it's a long way around answering your question, but yes, there are a multitude of reasons that sales aren't occurring that can be caused internally because of the limitations placed on the sales team. And that's my job as a sales leader, or any sales leaders that's in place, to continue to bring those to the table. They should come up every week. Hey, we lost another one. Took 5 days to get this damn quote, and poof, there goes another one. Okay. People have to realize that. Why aren't we just hiring another estimator? Okay. If we hire another estimator and sales go up 20%, we've paid for them, we've made more profit. All those things need to be evaluated.
Got it. Well, thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. Brittany, if we have a survey for today, please put that up. I have one more question. I think that you mentioned something earlier about, did you mention something about lead gen vendors?
Yes, that we've been working. Yeah, we've been working with, different organizations to kind of find what's happening out there today and what's available in the AI world with lead generation. Because there's a lot going on. I'll just real quick, since you asked, what's happening in lead generation. Obviously, there's a lot of search engines out there. There's LinkedIn. There's all kinds of search engines, and there's new things called intent, where they're watching what clients are searching for on the internet and things like that. And that's like Zoom Info. I mean, that's a great product, very expensive, but hey, if you got the wherewithal, that's a great tool. But what we're finding is, that's great to define what the market is, the number of people, who those people are that maybe have this buying ability, but who's most likely to buy from you has a few more considerations in, right? And things like relationships, past experience, commonalities. Okay, there's this big discussion now around commonalities, right? If I called you up and I never met you, Gershon, and I said, hey, I see we both went to, name the university, New York University. When did you go? Boom, boom, boom. Now we got a commonality. A trust is already starting to be built. Okay, so there are AI systems out there right now that is searching all of your LinkedIn, all of your internal information and your emails and everything else. And then when you're going out to search for clients, it's using all that information to find commonalities in those clients to come back and tell you, you know what? Yes, all these people could do business with you, but these have the highest probability based on commonalities, on the ability to get someone to trust you quickly, or at least have an honest conversation and either move forward or kill it quickly and not waste your time. So there's some new cool stuff out there.
Got it. Interesting.
Mhm.
And speaking of killing it quickly,
Mhm.
do you have any tips on how to make that happen?
Every industry is different. Every industry is different. You know, for me, it's still about consultative selling. And if it's done properly, it almost happens automatically. There's no magic tricks. You've got to understand your salespeople have to understand your offerings very well. Okay. They've got to be able to communicate them very well. And they have to be able to read their clients. Okay. Part of sales training that I do with clients and things like that is, determining personality styles, right? What are these people like? What's important to them? Make sure you're getting them information they actually care about. You've seen the disc profiles and things like that, and now there's other ones that may expand that to even more, types of buyers and things like that. But again, the best way to increase your velocity of sales is to target who you're going after, get very focused on what you're offering them, be very clear on what you're offering them, and then your salespeople have to do the good follow-up. Okay, they've got to work with the clients to understand how they want to buy. Okay, and provide that path to make that easy. I forget the exact stat, but it's something to the effect of, the most satisfied customers will come back and say, what was the reason you were so satisfied? Is that the whole sales process occurred exactly as I was told it was going to happen. Okay. So, in other words, if you have a very complex sale, it's important that you get in there and you tell the client, look, this is going to take time. Okay. We have to do artwork and we have to do this and we have to go for permits. And that's going to take 2 weeks and 6 weeks and 8 weeks. And, and you may want to buy from me today, but I might not be able to complete my offering for 15 weeks. But if that's laid out and that's clear and you do it in those 15 weeks, that's what the client wanted. Hey, they made it clear. I knew what I was getting into and they satisfied me. What buyers don't want is surprises. They don't want surprises. They don't want delays. They don't want increased prices. They don't want, all the aggravations that we go through when we buy anything. Right.
Right. All right. So thank you, John.
Thank you.
To our team, our guests for joining. And thank you to everyone listening on LinkedIn and or YouTube. If anyone needs to get in touch with John, reach out to us and we'll put you in touch. Or John, want to share your email?
Yep. It should still be up on the screen there at the bottom, right?
Oh,
JD,
there. Oh yeah, perfect. It's on
okay.
On the screen.
Yep.
And thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a great day, everyone.
You too.
Bye.
Take care.